Hello gaming gorillas, your boy yeatle here, coming at you with a hot off the press thoughts, predictions, and rankings video for Overwatch's newest hero, Vendetta. This is Overwatch's first melee DPS hero, and man did they cook with her. I got a chance to play her this past weekend and managed to already sink in 35 hours on her, so yeah, I'm ready for this video. Let's start from the beginning with her primary fire, Palatine Fang. This is a massive sword that does two hard to miss side to side swipes, and for the third swing, she goes for the Mega Bonk on the head. This is commonly referred to as the overhead swing. The overhead swing crits enemies every time and does a slight knockdown effect. Oh, and it's actually hard to hit. The hitbox is pretty tight, but also there's a really long windup before it does hit. A lot of the early sentiment I read was that it seems clunky and slow, but I like to keep an open mind. I mean, after all, it is a really big, heavy sword. It's also something different. I think that a lot of people, myself included, subconsciously wanted it to swing like Genji's blade or like Reinhardt's hammer, but it's neither. At first, I really didn't like the overhead swing. It felt like there was too many downsides. The long windup, sometimes she does this lunge forward, sometimes she doesn't. Rage increases attack speed, making the timing confusing, and if you're really high up, you have to account for travel time downwards. Also, there may or may not be a camera lock. Oh, and it also no regs. Like, damn bro, can I just swing my sword? But I will say, as I put in those hours, I started missing less overheads and got a better grasp of her gameplay loop. And so, my opinion did a 180. Overhead is good. Definitely not perfect, and I imagine most players are tapping out early because of all these prereqs, but I will say that I personally feel the reward for mastering the art of the overhead is well worth it. Moving on to the next tool in our kit, Warding Stance, or what everyone else is just going to call it, block. At first, it doesn't seem like a very big part of her kit, but oh man, let me tell you, it is. Without this block, she would be paper, and not the tough kind like the construction paper you'd color on as a kid. No, I'm talking like the cheap toilet paper, the kind so brittle you have to use twice as much to stop it from breaking. So anyways, it blocks 75% of incoming damage. It's not a cooldown, so it can pretty much be weaved in whenever. The only thing to worry about is the resource, which charges pretty quick when it's not being used. And before anyone asks, yes, she can still be stunned and block. It doesn't stop anything, it just reduces the damage taken. Overall, I really like this application of block. It's not like Doom's block where you feel punished for shooting it, nor is it like Ram's block where it lasts forever. There is an incentive for players to actually shoot her when she blocks, since it drains resource. On the Vendetta side of things, the flexibility it has from being a resource rather than a cooldown is nice because it leaves room for better players to min-max the usage. A big part of that min-maxing revolves around a projected edge, aka Fire Strike. Yeah, this hero is pretty much what if Doomfist and Reinhardt had a baby. I don't really want to imagine that, but gameplay wise it's pretty awesome. To use Fire Strike, she has to shield, then primary fire. Doing so drops a shield and consumes resource, and with a full meter, she can shoot 3 of these bad boys in a row. This hero would not feel half as good without the fire strikes. Like, her viability shoots up because of it. Not having to rely on those close quarter engages to do damage makes her a little more useful in the pre-fights, and having them to clean up or chase kills just out of reach scratches a real nice itch. Next up is Whirlwind Dash, her shift ability. With this, she does a short dash forward that boops enemies in the way, and at the end, she basically hits the spin to win maneuver where she does a 360 sword spin and damages enemies in range. I like the simplicity of this ability. It's disruption, mobility, and damage, but nothing too crazy. Not until we get that one perk that we'll get to later. For now, let's talk about her next ability, Soaring Slice, the E. This is my favorite part of her kit. The sword is thrown, does a little impact damage, and then pulls Vendetta towards it, which is pretty damn ideal for a melee hero that just wants to get in there. I forgot to mention, using this initiates an overhead swing, which is another reason why mastering the overhead is a huge make or break for this hero. It's like playing Widowmaker and not hitting headshots. You won't have much fun if you can't do the most important thing the hero does. But yeah, I love this ability, and I think it really sets her apart from the existing melee DPS in another game. There's also a lot of depth in how you use it. She has a lunge with overhead, so it's almost like she gets a double jump on top of what's already a super mobile kit, and it makes movement mix-ups a thing. Then there's her ultimate. Easily the flashiest part of her kit. She can use it while grounded or midair, and in doing so, she charges up her sword through 3 stages and decimates anyone in its path. If I had to describe it in one sentence, it's like a mix of Shatter and High Noon in a weird way. It doesn't go through cover, but it has the reach of the skybox and can descend. The longer it's charged up, the more damage and range. A very unique thing about it is that it deals damage through everything. Shields, bubbles, deployables, overhealth, armor, everything. Stage 3 sword charge will one-shot all non-tanks, no questions asked. Except for Suzu, of course. Gotta sell those Kiri skins somehow, right? Anyways, I love this ultimate. It's like they're breaking an unspoken balance rule, but it's actually fine and balanced with how they implemented it. For the first time ever, we have an ultimate that theoretically can counter every support ultimate. Of course, it's not that simple because similar to High Noon, people have time to run away, and similar to Shatter, the map geometry makes it weaker in some places. But yeah, I think this ultimate is peak, and one of the most fun ones they've added in a while. Really quickly, before I give the big ratings, I want to gloss over a few more things. Her passive, Onslaught. Dealing damage to enemies adds 1 stack of 5% attack speed and move speed, stacking up to 5 times and expiring after a few seconds. This passive is okay, not something that changed my engagements too often. If anything, it helped snowball kills, and that's about it. I'm glad it's not the focus of her kit because we don't want Wolverine from Marvel Rivals in here, where you have a DPS that exists exclusively to kill tanks. With max stack on the passive, she still feels weak against most tanks in 5v5, which I think is healthy for the game. Anytime focusing tank ends up being the strongest option, the gameplay becomes low skill and boring. With that being said, let's talk about her minor perks. One of them grants healing on overhead swings, while the other gives her passive an additional 3 max stacks. After having tried both of them for a while, my conclusion is that the healing one is better every time. Reason being, Vendetta spends a lot of time taking fights away from healers, so having some kind of sustain makes a huge difference in how long she can fight. It also lets her win some of the tank matchups, and if nothing else, allows her to trade damage with them for a positive value. Meanwhile, the Rage perk might get her a kill when everything lines up, but it's just not as consistent as the lifesteal is. Moving on to her major perks, the best one is going to be Raging Storm, aka Spin to Win, but better. This gives her more spins, the option to cancel spins early, and it just does way more damage. In my opinion, this perk is broken. It pushes her into near unreactable territory. E from across the map, hit the overhead, and instantly shift for a free kill. That's it. I like the perk, but I don't like the damage. It's given off Overwatch 1 release Doomfist energy, except the punch was easier to react to. Her other major perk is called Swift Vengeance, which basically introduces a bounty system where if she dies, then kills the person who killed her, she gets overhealth and a cooldown reset. Despite her other perk being broken, this one does have a turbo niche scenario where it's the better pick. That scenario being when the player has a lot of time and only needs to win 1 fight. So to give an example, King's Row third point, 5 minutes in the time bank. We've all had those games where it takes 5 minutes to finally cap or it just doesn't happen. Well, this perk is pretty much insurance because the player is probably gonna die and eventually get that bounty kill. So that'll help snowball the fight into a win. My opinion, not a fan of this perk. It's too niche and not very interactive. Hoping that they change it quick. So finally, it's time for the review. When it comes to difficulty, I'm giving this hero a 10 out of 10. Vendetta is without question the most difficult hero in current day Overwatch. The only hero to rival the amount of feeding I can do on her is Doomfist. And as I said earlier, she's that and Reinhardt. So yeah, this is the turbo feed hero, but there's so many little things that you can do to maximize her kit and get value. There's also plenty of tech that's flown under the radar too, so easily 10 out of 10. What about strength? How strong is she really? I'm gonna be bold here and say that she is a 9 out of 10 right out the gate. This hero can easily be meta defining, but might not be because similar to Ball and early Doom, players couldn't master them or just didn't bother to. But I'm saying it on record now, this hero is strong, just very unforgiving. Lastly, how fun is Vendetta? After getting over that initial learning phase, she's a 9.5 out of 10. Not quite a 10 because learning her was very unintuitive and the overhead no reg bug exists, so there's still room for improvement. But I will say this hero is my newest favorite in Overwatch 2 and probably my main for a while. So overall, she's a W and the Overwatch team cooked. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you think of Vendetta and drop a like, maybe even subscribe if you want to see an in-depth Vendetta guide. As always, thank you for watching and good luck on the grind.